1 second. Okay, we're good if you want to call to order.
Okay, so I call the meeting to order on May 10th. I note that we don't have a quorum, so we will not have a meeting today. I'll also note that the meeting minutes of April 12th will not be reviewed and approved today, since we don't have a quorum. I'll also note that the CEP updates, which I got an email from Scott Cave this morning, should be out, but he's still kind of dealing with them, will not be reviewed, and they'll be put out later this week for approval at the next meeting. I will note that we have decided on the DRC exercise will be July 23rd. The scenario will, just so for Ed and in the notes, will be a hurricane, but a severe hurricane, not a small hurricane, a category 4+ that hits the island, and the island is devastated. Disaster Awareness Day, as previously noted, is canceled. And information about the hurricanes is being pumped out from the town via tide lines. And then anything Joe has, otherwise we will end this meeting since we don't have a quorum.
Yeah, the only two things that I had on there was just really not even much of an update, just saying we're working on the RFP for debris monitoring service, and then at our Ways and Means meeting tomorrow, council would be talking about COVID protocols for the planned Independence Day fireworks celebration on July 3rd. I guess, Ed, since you're on the meeting, if you have any comments or suggestions for Barry and I to take to council on protocols you would like to see for 4th of July, now would be an opportunity to bring those up.
Well, I think by virtue of the fact that it was discussed not to have a picnic type event where food is served and everything else like that, unless there is an outcry from the public and the board decides maybe it'll bend it a little. I think that's a good way to go. Have the fireworks, but make it quick and over, and you know, that kind of a thing. With respect to, you know, the disaster activity, you know, the notice is out. It's the 23rd. It's going to be a heavy duty hurricane and so on. Is there anything new on the restriction of unleashed dogs on the path? I know the last meeting it had one more reading to go. Anything happen on that?
Yeah, let me pull up the ordinance here. I think it was 2020-01. Here it is.
I think the second reading's this month, and that should be it. Then it should be an ordinance.
Okay.
Well, 2020-01, I think, was adopted at the April meeting. I'm just trying to pull it up here. But for some reason, it's not opening. Yeah, that was given final reading approval on April 27th. So the language says, no person owning or having possession, charge, custody, or control of any domestic household animal or pet shall cause, permit, or allow the animal to stray or in any manner to run at large upon public property or upon the property of another unless the animal is effectively restrained on a leash. For purpose of this section, the term on a leash shall have the same meaning as contained in the beach ordinance, where we define, you know, what constitutes a leash. The third part is, for purposes of this section, the term effectively restrained shall mean that the person owning or having possession, charge, custody, or control of the animal restrains the animal from destroying or damaging any property, attacking, threatening to attack, or interfering with any person, in any manner, becoming a nuisance or straying onto public property or the private property of another. And then lastly, the provisions of this section don't apply to public property which is subject to the provisions of 32-44, which is the beach ordinance, because we do allow pets to be off leash at certain times on the beach. So we do have that under the ordinance now. It's now a misdemeanor offense to have a pet off a leash anywhere in the town limits with the exception of the beach.
Thank you,
So
Joe.
when we replace our signage and stuff on the pathways, we will plan to put out some new signage that all pets must be on a leash on the pathways.
Joe, maybe you want to tell Pat to kick out something on guidelines about the ordinance so people start to become aware of it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because unless they're aware of it, they won't follow it. So, okay?
Well, even if they are aware of it, a lot of people won't do it. But
That's not right. Okay.
But now we do have a mechanism in place, and our code enforcement officers actually can warn or ticket someone who has a pet off leash. Essentially, if it's off of their own property, it's a violation. So whether it's running at large, if it's on someone else's property, if it's on a street, a commercial area, a pathway, whatever, if it's not on a leash, it's a violation.
Maybe you could tell Pat to stick it out in guidelines, and maybe she could emphasize this includes the bike path, because that seems to be that was the impetus for this whole ordinance.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good suggestion. I'll get with her about that.
Okay.
One last question. There's been a lot of talk about the beach erosion factor and Boardwalk 8, and the ability or inability of the beach patrol to get around an emergency. Has there been any discussion of a game plan for that?
No discussion that I'm aware of, other than in the next couple weeks we'll transition to 4 personnel and 2 vehicles. So it wouldn't be as much of an issue because they can station 1 vehicle on both sides of that area. But yeah, right now they're basically having to drive. So like if they're near the beach club and they can't drive around the point there onto the Edisto side, they basically have to backtrack all the way back to Boardwalk 1 and then drive all the way out over to Camp St. Christopher and then access the beach and then essentially go all the way back down towards Boardwalk number 8. So yeah, it's not ideal, but right now it kind of is what it is.
I was going to say, I don't think there's no easy solution to that. You can't add sand, it won't stay there. So there's no easy solution.
No. Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else,
It won't
Joe?
stay there, but that doesn't stop beach communities from doing beach renourishment projects all the time.
Yeah, well, that's a bad location. You're right. So, other than that, the only thing I have is, so I will be gone next month in June, Ed. So I'm not sure. I think John may have a meeting, but maybe, I don't know. I'll keep you in the email loop if he does, and whether the meeting will occur. So
Thank you.
Other than that, then July will be an important one because we'll have our hurricane scenario coming up. All right.
Okay.
This isn't a meeting, so we can't call it to order to end. So that's it, I guess, Joe, right?
I mean, you can still technically have a meeting. You just can't vote on anything.
Okay. All right. Well, I think if we're done, it's a short, efficient meeting. How's that?
That's good.
All right. That's it.
Well, thanks for coming, Ed. We appreciate
Okay, thanks,
it.
Ed.
All right.
Bye.
Bye now.
Later.
See you, Joe.